SpongeGex here. I'm sure we'd all love to see another Super Smash Bros. Game on Switch 2 someday, and we all have one character from a game that we'd love to see appear playable, but you just know deep down that it will never happen. For me, one guest character I'd love to see is Kameo from the Xbox 360 launch title, Kameo Elements of Power. Kameo was the magical elf fairy who was gifted with the power to transform into 10 different powerful warriors as she fights through the forces of evil trolls and her traitorous sister Callus in order to rescue her family. Kameo may have never been on a Nintendo console, but her game was originally in development for N64 and GameCube before the Microsoft buyout of Rare, so she does have some history and some significance to Nintendo. Nintendo was able to negotiate with Microsoft to let Banjo and Kazooie appear as DLC fighters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate after all, so maybe it's not entirely impossible for Kameo. I don't see it happening ever, honestly, but it doesn't mean it's entirely impossible. So out of all the characters that Rare has made, I think Kameo would be the most fun and unique fighter in a new Super Smash Bros. Game. But having a fighter being able to swap between 10 playable characters might be a bit too ridiculous for a fighting game, which is why it would be cool to have Kameo's transformations mixed into her moveset. So in this video, I'll discuss how I'd want Kameo's moveset in an upcoming Super Smash Bros. Game. So as Kameo, we could walk, run, jump, pick up and use items in Kameo's default form, but all of her other actions involve her rapidly transforming for a brief period in order to attack. So double jumping will cause Kameo's wings to sprout out and make her fall slower. For shielding and dodge rolling, she turns into Thermite as he curls up into a barrier. For her default A button attack, tapping the A button will perform Pummelweed's rapid punch attack. I honestly had trouble finding a move for a charged smash attack, but I decided to go with Snare. So Snare would lunge forward and give a vicious bite. So in the original game, Snare couldn't launch enemies just by biting them. You had to play with physics as he had stuffed the enemies in his mouth. You had to play around with the joystick to get Snare to fling his prey. So in Smash Brothers, I'd ditch the flinging and have it where biting enemies just sends them flying. So for an upward tilt attack, Chilla will use his upward swipe attack. For horizontal tilt attacks, I'd have Flex reach out for a slap attack. For down tilt attacks, I'd have Deep Blue dive underwater and slap enemies with his tentacles. For a running smash attack, I'd have Major Ruin briefly spin into enemies. For an upward smash, Kameo would do her flip kick, which was the only attack that she could do without transforming, and so in Smash Bros. That would be the only attack she could use without transforming. Her down smash would have 40 Below use his Quake attack. That was one of the most overpowered attacks in the original game, if you ask me, minus Thermite. But so for special attacks, Rubble would fling one of his rock pieces. It won't do much damage, but it's a good way to stun enemies. So this would obviously be the attack that Kirby would use if he ate Kameo and took her powers. Huh. A copy ability where Kirby transforms into another form that can transform into another form. That's kind of trippy. So maybe Kirby would turn into a pile of pink rocks or something, and he'd fling one of his smaller pieces at enemies or something. That'd be kind of a funny idea. So holding the B button long enough will cause Grubble to fling all of his rocks at once. But the recovery time would be a lot quicker than it was in the original game, where you weren't allowed to transform into another beast until all of your pieces returned. So I'd make it a much quicker recovery. For a side special, Major Ruin would do a spinning charge attack similar to Sonic's Spin Dash, but it would be bigger and slower. So using it during a jump will allow Major Ruin to freeze midair and launch forward like in the original game. For her downward special, Kameo would turn into Ash. So instead of being another clone of Bowser or Charizard's fire-breathing attacks, let's use Ash's other fire attack, where he launches fire missiles that track alongside surfaces, like how they can go up slopes and walls. That was kind of a cool attack. That'd be kind of cool to see in Smash Brothers. Just like a fire trail being able to go up on different surfaces, similar to maybe like the Bomb Chew rockets. So her up special would be Pummelweed's uppercut ability, but if you use it while on the ground, and use it as a charge attack, it will cause Pummelweed to bury himself underground, and he can use his Weed Killer attack for a more powerful uppercut. While typing the script for this video, I realized I forgot to record footage for possible jump attacks, but honestly, it would be really hard to do because jumping and attacking really wasn't a thing that you could do in Kameo. Only Major Ruin could do that with his upward spin attack, well, his mid-air spin attack. So maybe for an up tilt jump, it would just be Kameo doing her flip kick, but she can do it in the air now. And so for side air attacks, it would be Major Ruin doing some quick spins. And then for a down tilt, maybe cause 40 Below to slam his giant snowball downward or something. So all of Kameo's throwing attacks would be performed by Flex, as he grabs enemies and flings them with his stretchy limbs and body to toss or slam them around. Now Flex could not throw enemies upwards in the original game, so that would have to be a new move in order to fit in with the Smash Bros. Throwing movesets. And for her final smash, Kameo would turn into Thermite and set off many explosive bombs. I'm honestly not sure what level to pick to be Kameo's stage in a Smash Bros. Game. There's so many good choices, from Thorn's Castle, the Enchanted Kingdom, the Shadow Troll Well, the Badlands. Maybe just have Kameo's level warp us from one end of Kameo's world to another. Because that game did involve a lot of warping from one world to another, so that would be really fitting, having it where it just warps her to all the different realms. So like it could warp her to the forest, the volcano, Thorn's Castle, the main hub of the Enchanted Kingdom. So that would be kind of a fun idea for a level. And then, not to mention, all the alternate costumes you would have based on all the DLC or unlockable skins. So you'd have like Coyote Skin Kameo, Goth Kameo, her classic GameCube design, and then all the cosplay outfits that were part of the DLC, like Joanna Dark or Killer Orchid. So many outfits to choose from. So this game already has an amazing soundtrack, and I don't think any of its music tracks would need to be remade or remixed in order to fit Smash Bros. It's epic enough on its own. I would play some remixes for you to play some examples, but compared to other Rare games, the music in this game is more heavily copywritten, so I'm not really going to risk getting this video blocked for that. So, anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video and would love to see Kameo playable someday. Maybe a lot of you never thought of her as a character who could be in Smash Bros., and so hopefully this video made you realize, she could be a fun character in that game. I'd be happy enough to just finally see a sequel to Kameo. It's sad how she was supposed to get one and it never happened because either Rare or Microsoft lost faith in it, and that's a real shame. Kameo deserves so much better, and it's a shame that she only got one game in history when there was so much potential for this to be an ongoing series. Did you know we were originally supposed to get a Kameo animated movie, and that got canceled pretty early, sadly, but so yeah, I just want to see something happen with this series. It deserves so much better. I feel like Super Smash Bros. Would be a great way to reintroduce this character to people, or introduce them to Kameo for the first time, in fact, and that would be really cool. So, anyways, that's all I have to show for now. Thank you for watching, see you next time, and have a great day.